March Madness starts on Sunday.
It's Selection Sunday.
Selection starts Sunday, yes.
And then I think the first games aren't until Thursday next week. And they're
The
gonna
17th, yeah.
They're going to be empty.
Yep. It's official.
Which is crazy. Is this picking me up? I'm a little far from the mic.
It looks like it. Everything seems to be working just fine.
What's it called? Am I going to keep talking?
Oh, yeah, keep going.
Clicking away.
Do your thing.
College basketball. The reason why college basketball is so entertaining is because the crowd gets super hyped.
Yeah.
This is going to be weird. A March Madness with no madness. This is just March.
This is just March basketball.
The March tournament. March ball. Yeah. This is not madness. There's no madness.
Nope.
It's also going to mean part of the fans' interactions and part of the hype that the fans give the players is like what motivates them to get back into games. Because in March Madness, one of the coolest things that happens a lot is these buzzer beaters and the last second ties that go into overtime. The crowd reaction is a big part of that, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, this is the tournament known for crowd, and there's going to be no crowd.
It's going to be eerie, to say the least.
Like, what does that sound like? Like, it's just the announcers, the commentators, and a ball.
And squeaky shoes.
You're going to hear
squeaky shoes.
We're actually going to hear
play calls,
and we're going to hear people calling for ball, calling pick, calling defensive setups. Like, that'll be weird.
It's gonna be very strange.
Like watching basketball if you go to a gymnasium, just watching a couple guys play hoops.
But like, there's nobody other than you watching the game.
Weird.
It's gonna be very strange. Hello.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, whoa there.
Welcome to Two Strikes and a Fumble. We recorded all that, so we're good.
2 strikes.
Yes.
Cheers. Look at they match.
Cheers. They do.
Matching cans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm cracking some canoes. I like to say I'm sinking some ships.
I got Waterloo Dark. Apparently it's Ontario's first craft brewery.
What?
Yeah, I think that's a lie. Yeah, who knows?
Ontario. That actually...
Steam Whistle?
Craft brewery.
Steam Whistle?
Is Steam Whistle craft?
Yeah, I would say so.
What implies craft?
Handcrafted.
Like, aren't all beers handcrafted to start off with?
Well, I mean, at this point,
before I have a
Canadians
recipe.
not. Coors isn't. Yeah, but I mean, it's not.
I feel like they were.
They were at one point. Yeah. One point.
Now they
ago.
have machines that do the job for them, but at one point they were craft.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
Craft beer. Until it's developed with machines. Weird. There's breweries now where you can
make your own.
You can make your own. Yeah. Town Brewery does that.
There's a lot of places that do that. There's a place in Oshawa that's like, was it Ritson and Totten that lets you do it too?
What's that one?
I don't know. They let you do that in wine. I haven't been there.
Old Flame, I think, does it too. Peterborough.
Peterborough. They make a good rye beer. Yeah.
I have not had this.
That's the reason I found out, because I was at the grocery store one time and I was like, oh, I'll check this out. And I was like, oh, that's pretty damn good. Yes, it's a rye ale. Very nice. I would definitely suggest getting it. Have a couple of those. You start to feel it, though. It hits you quick.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Gets you going. What's going on, people? How's everyone doing? Holy shit. Like, I mean, so the NCAA March Madness, no fans. Like, that was just announced a couple hours ago.
Really odd.
Yeah. Well, I know they said they're going to let, there was going to be, what was it? Essential staff and family members only.
Well, the family members.
I don't know if that's going to happen anymore.
I can see family members and they have them in the booths, but they won't be in the, you know what I mean?
Sit up in the nosebleeds.
So it'll just be booths, just booth seating. Yep. No grandstands.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's going to be fucking weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's that. There's
it's the end times.
So it officially was like Ohio said no NCAA games will have fans in them, and now it's the whole
Ohio's any gathering. You can't.
Has Ohio put the ban on gathering?
1,000 people.
Wow.
Anything over 1,000 people, it's no.
So that means there's no Blue Jackets have already announced.
Blue Jackets already announced for the rest of the season.
Cavaliers.
Yep.
Baseball season's just starting up now.
Not that the Cavaliers have playoff hopes, so.
But baseball season's just starting up now, so that takes out Cleveland there.
Yeah.
That's
There's gonna be,
And that's weird because that's an open air field too, though, right? Like
so
that's
baseball. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
yeah.
It's a little bit different, but it's because you're just in such close proximity to this person. It's not necessarily about the kettle effect. It's also like we are right beside each other.
Just don't
And
touch me.
Baseball seating is not great.
No. It's
You're
definitely
on
not.
top of each other,
Yeah,
not beside
it
each
gets
other.
very uncomfortable, especially for someone that's like 6'4" like myself.
Yeah.
Shit gets uncomfortable quick.
Yeah.
Warriors have announced not gonna have any fans.
San Jose next 3 games.
Yep.
The Sharks.
Well, like San Francisco Giants, same thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
San Fran. The city wanted to ban gatherings of more than.
well, San Jose banned. The city of San Jose banned.
So San Fran
gatherings.
tried to too.
I don't
and
think they
Golden
have yet.
State apparently turned on the Warriors. Were like, no.
But then the first ones in the NBA
It's
to
like-
say no more fans.
And it's like, but you just moved there. Like, this is your first year in San Fran.
Stupid.
Oh,
What city are they in? The Dragons of XFL.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. Thank you. Where the most largest portion of that outbreak in the States is happening right now. They're going no fans.
And like, they're the worst team in the league.
It doesn't even matter. Like it's
But they have like the best turnouts because Seattle is
yeah.
known for showing up for sports.
yeah. Well, not anymore.
No.
I mean, European soccer. What was it?
All of Italy.
What was
Arsenal game just got canceled because one of the
Yep.
a GM or an owner of one of the teams was confirmed to have had the virus. I feel like it's
Well, that's like
a manager.
The British. I think it was like the British.
He shook hands with a bunch of Arsenal players.
Yeah.
So now all those Arsenal players are on self. They're on self.
That's one way to win a game.
Self-imposed. What's it called?
Quarantine.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more about their families. They don't want their families
Yeah.
to contract or their other teammates.
Well, the British health minister just tested positive too.
It's crazy.
It's nuts. Six Nations rugby canceled or postponed.
Postponed drastically. I think it's not going to happen until they said autumn. In England, they still call things autumn.
Nothing wrong with that. The Indian Wells tennis tournament was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
The one that really upsets me, women's hockey tournament was canceled.
That sucks.
Yeah, and that was hosted here this year.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, Europe across the board, there's no fans, which is really weird. Like watching that, what was it? Was it Barcelona and where's Cristiano play now?
Juventus.
Yeah. Watching that with no fans, that was
My favorite.
it's eerie.
My
It's just
favorite
eerie
thing
is the best way to
I've seen-
describe it.
My favorite thing I've seen is all the Juventus players getting off the bus and Ronaldo's walking down.
Walking by, just like
and he's like,
just high fiving no one. That was great. Good for him.
Just a cheeky smile to the camera afterwards. Yeah.
Good for him for having some fun in all this chaos.
Yeah, and like some people may say, "Oh, it's in bad taste," but like that's like sometimes you have to be lighter because if we're all doom and gloom, it's not a nice world to live in, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
I like him trying to cheer people up.
Yeah, and it was funny. It made me laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
For those wondering, this week we're watching Don Cherry's Rockin' Sock'em. I think it was 6. I put on.
This pup is hilarious.
Blue.
Blue.
Oh man, Blue was the best. I met Blue and Don Cherry actually down at Gretzky's grand opening, 95 or 96, maybe 94.
Oh,
I was a youngin.
Yes.
I was a youngin. They were both there. Blue is awesome.
I didn't.
R.I.P. Blue.
I didn't know sports at all back then.
Oh, I had no idea who I was meeting. I knew the dog.
Oh,
I didn't. I was like I said, 4, 5, or 6. Yeah, like I had no idea who Gretzky was. I had no idea who Cherry was. I knew Blue. I knew the dog. Two things actually. I'm kind of. They're up in the air still, but it's like, okay, what happens if these don't happen? Is the Olympics this year?
Yeah.
So there's possibility, and that's because it's in Japan.
And apparently, I heard this morning on the news that somebody who's on the committee for venue locations and stuff, said that they should postpone it for 2 years.
So do the winter and the summer the same year?
Sounds like it.
That's weird.
At 2 years. That's
Well, they're also talking about doing, again, no fans. They've already implemented a no gathering policy along the route from Athens to Tokyo. So that'll be interesting because there's going to be guys just running down the street holding the torch and nobody's near them for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And then the big one I think is actually like the city of Tampa putting a whole gathering ban as well.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I mean, your Lightning
Yep.
playoff push. Baseball season starting up now.
Yep.
And on top of that, they got Mania this year.
Yeah.
Like WrestleMania, that's a big one. That's $140 million worth of
WrestleMania.
economical revenue.
And WrestleMania needs gate. They need
I don't like. I'm not talking about like the WWE. Like we talked about it and we said, there is a possibility of them being able to relocate.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Yeah.
For what it does for the city of Tampa, like on average, like they're looking at, like I said, $140 million worth of economical revenue brought in because of WrestleMania alone.
Yeah.
That doesn't include like the WrestleCon, which is like all like the indie shows and everything they do around there. So ROH is doing a show. I think Orlando's got a couple shows they're getting. But it's just kind of like that's a big loss for that city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you talk about like the stock market crashing, people going out and buying all this toilet paper and shit. Like, that economy can take a massive hit. Like that's a lot that they were kind of relying on there.
Yeah, that's I can see where you're coming from. I'm thinking from the WWE's perspective, but I like that idea of the thinking from the city's perspective. And like you said before to me, Tampa now, not long till it's Florida, not long till the whole state does, right?
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, like it didn't start off with Cleveland or Cincinnati or Columbus. It was just all of a sudden, boom, Ohio puts a ban on gatherings.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And it's that better to be safe than sorry.
Does Washington have a ban yet?
The
gatherings?
city or the state?
The state of Washington.
I don't know. I haven't. I just know Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know Seattle's got...
Washington, the state, doesn't have much outside of Seattle, though.
Right, but I mean, there's still the rest of the state there. So I think of what? Within Washington, you have 3 major colleges within the state of Washington that all have sporting teams.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking football, but then you also have basketball. You have...
I'm just talking collegiate, period.
Yeah, like I'm thinking NCAA football and I'm thinking March Madness basketball. Yeah, there's quite a few universities impacted. It's weird. So we were actually talking about this before, how SARS was arguably worse and didn't have the same shutdown going on.
I think that's just because it's the numbers. Right? Like SARS, the fatality rate was 10%, which is what we talked about. But the number of people that contracted SARS was a lot less than what we're already seeing with Corona. So I think that's kind of where it differs. I think also there's a massive feeling. It's been a month and a half really since this became a big thing.
Yeah.
And then how much the numbers have increased, like the point where the World Health Organization today announced that's now a pandemic.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's that was. I think that's an eye opener to a lot of people who have been looking at this saying, it's not that big a deal. Oh, it'll blow over. The amount of people that I've spoken to in the past couple of weeks that have given me the impression that they're not worried whatsoever is pretty substantial. Like I'm like, oh really? Like you're not concerned whatsoever? Like not even a little bit? Like it's kind of freaky. Like we were talking about as a business, how will we adapt? Like so I work out of an office with 6 other people. Mm-hmm. If one of us gets sick, the odds that the rest of us are sick is pretty high.
Yeah.
Who does our jobs? Like it's we also take care of some big community locations as well, and we're like, if those locations shut down, what do we do with our employees? How do we keep them busy?
Well, yeah,
right.
Like,
and
they're still gonna get paid.
And also, as an employer in Ontario or in Canada, period, our employees have rights. Mm-hmm. And they can say, I don't feel safe going to work. I don't feel safe going to this place that has thousands of people because it leads me to believe that I'm under more risk.
See, it's funny though, because you talk about like how now since the pandemic, it should, kind of put people a little more on guard. I'm still not scared. I'm not worried.
Gingers are invincible.
No, not even that. No. Like, dude, I me, I work in the hospitality industry. I deal with people day in, day out.
Yeah.
Richmond Hill, which we've already had a confirmed case. The person was taking public transit, right? So now that should be an additional 30, 40 cases, right?
Right.
You'd think.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened. For me, it's just like, I just take extra sanitational caution with things.
Right.
I'm not out there. I'm not shaking hands like I used to.
Yeah.
When I talk to people, like I'm not as close as I was. I do keep a bit of distance.
Yeah.
I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable at the same time. My big thing is if my staff turns around, they're like, "Hey, I'm not feeling too great. Yo, don't come in.
Yeah.
Like, go see a doctor."
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take the day off. No. Go see a doctor.
Not all businesses can afford to.
I get that.
Be
I get
like that. Can
yeah.
you be like, yeah? Don't worry about it.
we can't either, really. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, like I don't want that to become that thing. For me, it's just like I don't shake hands. I don't get as close to people as I would before. I wash my hands a lot more frequently now, and I use hand sanitizer a lot more frequently. That's all it really is.
Yeah. But
at the end of the day,
so
we don't. The thing with all this is it's still in its infancy stages where we don't know. We don't know fully what causes it.
Yeah.
We don't know, how to prevent it. Obviously, there's a lot we don't know.
All we know is what we would have known regardless.
All we know is what we assume.
Yeah. Be the healthy version that we've always been told to be. Always wash your hands.
This is shit that you should be doing constantly, but come flu season, you amplify it, right?
Yeah.
You do it more frequently during flu season.
My thing is, with the term pandemic comes pandemonium, and
panic.
Yeah, people are going to start overreacting.
Well, we already are.
Yeah,
we're selling stores out of their toilet paper.
Yeah. Yep.
Is shitting one of the side effects? I don't even think so.
Well, we were just talking about Corona. Corona took a
33%
hit
sales in the U.S. That's nuts.
So
that's
Corona.
That's more to do with
virus.
stupidity than anything else. Stupidity from the general public standpoint, but also stupidity from Corona for naming their fucking beer Corona.
Corona was already named Corona before the coronavirus.
The coronavirus has been a thing for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. This isn't new. This is just what it's being called. It's COVID-19 or something like that.
COVID-19 because somebody on the board for Corona was like, "Hey, we're taking a hit here. Can you calm down?"
It's always been Corona. The coronavirus has always been a thing. The coronavirus technically has been around longer than Corona beer. That's their fault for naming something like that. At the end of the day, it's shit beer.
Definitely never heard of the coronavirus before this year, ever.
Well, no,
but I've definitely drank the beer and heard of it before.
Hey, listen. If I get coronavirus, I hope I get Lyme's disease because you can't have corona without Lyme.
Hey.
And there's mine for the day.
Hey.
Honestly, it's. I get where the fear comes from because it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
We don't know everything about it, but I think we're already kind of at that point now where we've hit the pandemonium, we've hit the panic buttons.
Yeah.
We're shutting down everything essentially.
We're in an information-driven era where the information is so readily available to us.
I can hit a button and find out what I need to find out.
And
I can do that.
I can find out way more than I want to find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, at the end of the day, really, if you use Google MD, everything goes back to cancer. So
yeah. So everybody wants to all information to be available to them at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
But sometimes that actually hurts us. Like sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't want to know all of this. Like it's that question. If you knew that an asteroid was going to collide with Earth on a certain day, and there was nothing we could do about it, would you want to know?
No, probably not.
Some people I'd rather be oblivious.
It's like that stupid Facebook thing where it's like, find out the day you die. Like, does anybody actually want to know the day they're going to die?
Yeah,
no.
Then it's just a calendar.
Yeah.
It's just a clock.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, then live your life before that. And you can do all these great things. And it's like, yeah, cool. What about the last 3 days when it's just like the realization sets in that you're dying? Yeah, it's over.
I don't want to know everything there is to know because sometimes it's nice to be in the dark a little.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss. Right? So Yeah, Corona's going to affect all major sports in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see when the first like star player contracts it. Like, what will the reaction be?
Truth be told, I think let's be honest here. I mean, like I said, I work in the general public. I work in a city where there's been a positive or confirmed case already. There's a good chance I've come in contact with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that any players are going to contract it? Probably. It's probably going to be like chaos when it happens. Everyone's going to freak out. The Boston Red Sox, they locked down their quarantine, their Taiwanese pitcher in a hotel room because they were worried about it.
Yeah, now
It's just the fear of the unknown, right? Like when we talk about there's 120,000 confirmed cases in the world. Out of those 124,000, I think it's like 64,000 or something like that. I know it's over 60,000 have already cleared the disease.
it's half.
Yeah. At the same time, I mean, there's still over 4,000 cases of deaths, which it sucks. Like that's not something you want everyone to hear about. It's
No.
really shitty.
But
So
people
it's-
also die from the common cold and
Yeah.
and
More
the-
people-
and
more-
the flu and
A less percentage of people that contract the flu die annually, but it's way more of a higher number because way more higher people contract the flu,
right.
right? So at the same time, again,
Like those
infancy stages, we don't know how long this is going to last,
Yeah.
right? This could be another SARS where it only lasts a few months and then it goes away, or it could become like the new flu where it's going to be around forever and
Right.
it's not going to go away.
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah, it's the one thing that's going to come out of this from the sports perspective is I think they're going to find new ways to present their product to fans. It's going to be interesting. Like how do I get the same kind of buzz that I do from live events? How do I get the same fan appreciation that I do from live events? Like I'm interested to see what the product looks like when we're solely focused on the TV audience.
I feel like it's gonna be the sound, right? Like for me, I don't watch a game to hear the audience.
No, but like we were saying with March Madness, it's a big part of it. Like
Yeah,
like when you hit that
not
buzzer
for me,
beater,
not for me,
like
not for me, but for the players. Yeah, like that can be a big influence.
huge.
If you don't have everyone back there like smashing the things together and trying to distract all the players during free throws, yeah, whole different story.
Also, like I know we're a ways away from NFL, but we talk about Seattle Seahawks, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the New Orleans Saints, probably the three best home field advantages in football because they're in. Arrowhead's not in a dome, but they're in a stadium atmosphere. Their fans are crazy loud.
The Superdome, and then is it Superdome? Yeah, Silverdome's Detroit, Superdome's New Orleans, Mercedes Superdome.
But their crowds are super loud. Their crowds get really into the game, and there's points where opposing offenses can't make play calls because they can't hear themselves. Right? That would be a big loss for a team like the Chiefs, Saints, or Seahawks.
Just talk to Belichick and see what he can do to help you guys out, and you're good.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Like actually, like how would you do that? Like how would you actually like okay, we need that fan, like that's a part of the game is the fan volume. So
Yeah.
like
Just start pumping.
all in picture is like through the
speakers.
speakers, like just like fans just going
Yeah,
off.
Belichick would 1,000%.
Oh man, he'd be like, I don't know what's happening.
Someone hit the wrong
Are
button.
you calling me a liar? And just like death stares him the whole time. No sir, I am not.
Puts his hood up and walks away. So, coronavirus aside,
Mm-hmm.
we got some playoff basketball coming up.
Yep.
Some playoff hockey coming up. I wanted to know, first of all, is there any dark horse wild card picks you maybe had? Like some team that you think might squeeze in at the last minute?
Right now for basketball?
Either.
For basketball, I think it's pretty set. I think for hockey, Philly's going to make it in. Columbus will be out.
Because no fans.
Right? No, I mean like for basketball, I think it's all pretty well set. What I'm kind of interested in because Bill Simmons is out for the next 3 to 4 weeks. how does that affect Philly? Right now, I think they're playing against Detroit. They're up 65-53 in the second. So, not too bad. I think it's kind of exactly where I thought it would be for most teams in basketball. Hockey, there's always that one team that just like last couple games, like last week, just comes out of nowhere to run through and goes on a nice win streak. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, you're right. Basketball is pretty set. And the only team that's kind of on the doorstep is Portland Trailblazers, and that would mean Grizzlies falling off quite a bit.
And that's the big fall off too. Like the same thing with Philly. Like Philly needs like what? I think they're.
We talking hockey with Philly?
No. Talking basketball.
Okay.
They're they're 14. Was it 14 points out from first place, and then Washington I think is like 26. So yeah, 12-point differential. 12-point differential with 20 games left, something like that. I think Philly's a lock for that six or that at least that 8th seed. They're
Philly's
sixth right now?
in 6th.
Yeah, they're in 6th.
It's Magic and Wizards that would be competing for that final.
I don't see them losing those spots though, and they're still
Wizards are 9th.
The Wizards are 9th. Yeah, the Wizards are 9th. Yes. That's what I mean. Yeah. I don't see Orlando or who's the other one in 7th?
Portland.
Yeah. I don't see them losing their spots there.
Okay, so basketball playoff picture, since it's the easiest one.
My boys have already clinched, so we good.
So the Raptors.
So is Milwaukee.
So
who do you think is taking MVP this year?
I think it's going to be Giannis.
You think it's going to be Giannis?
I wouldn't give it to Giannis.
You wouldn't. So you'd give it to LeBron? I think what LeBron has done for the Lakers is more than Giannis has done for Milwaukee.
But I think it's going to be the popular vote for Giannis.
Who's really more?
I just think
hold on.
Giannis
So, now hold on, because now we're gonna talk popular vote. Like, let's talk what's happened this year, especially in LA. So, what's really the popular vote there? Is it Giannis? Is it Giannis who is considered, by some, I don't know why, but the best player in basketball right now, or is it the LeBron James, Lakers, Kobe Bryant story?
So obviously, the Lakers story is a more heartwarming story, but the Giannis story is a more finally we have someone else to give this award to story. Like there's a lot of people.
Didn't he win it last year?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that think that this is like a changing of the guard. It's like would you think that it was going to be McDavid or Crosby at the start of the season? Right, most people would have said McDavid.
Yeah.
Although many weeks Crosby's the best player in the world. Right. I personally think McDavid's the best player in hockey right now, but
well, I mean, Pittsburgh's a better team.
It's similar,
so that's got a lot to do with
it. It's like Giannis versus LeBron, because Giannis is by far the best player on his team. I'd say he's by far the best player in his conference. Whereas LeBron,
I'm going to cut you off. Keep talking to people. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Okay. Right in the middle of the recording. I'm doing it.
Hi, people. I'm just going to give myself feedback. Oh, yeah, man? Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying about Giannis, so I can come right back in this conversation very easily.
Okay. So, for me, talking to myself over here, LeBron has something that Giannis doesn't have. He has a better market. He's got a better story. He's got the horrible loss of Kobe and the fan support behind it. But what Giannis has is a lot of the players in the league seeing him and thinking that he's the new GOAT. He's the flavor of the week. He's the guy that they think is going to take them into the future. So I think he's going to get a lot of votes. What do you think about that, Dan? Tell me more. Well, me too. Great. I feel like I should just list off things that I'm seeing. First round, Bucks, Magic. Bucks win that. Raptors, Nets. Raptors win that. Celtics, 76ers. That's a more interesting matchup. Let's see what let's see what team shows up for the Sixers in the playoffs. They have a chance of winning that matchup. He won't agree, but he's not here to defend his team. So they lose by default. Heat Pacers. Heat win that because they have more dogs. They have a more aggressive team. I've just started breaking down the Eastern Conference playoff picture by myself.
Well, what I was going to say... what I was going to say was I completely agree with you. LeBron should be MVP. Giannis is a great player, but I think when it comes down to who's been more valuable to the team, it's been LeBron.
So I like people who touch on what does it mean to be an MVP. So for you, let's separate basketball completely. Let's just say all sports.
Okay.
What is an MVP to you?
So an MVP to me is the most valuable player on the team. So it's, who is the most effective in winning games? In basketball, a big part of that is points.
Okay.
Be it assist is fine, but if that assist leads to a point, then...
Yeah, in basketball, they actually
it's effectiveness, right?
They have a points responsible for stat.
I think there's also, the defensive aspect of it. So if you're winning games, but your team is very low in the scoring, but you have one of the best defensive ratings, that's a big piece to it. You're winning games with a very low effective offense.
So here's...
Like James Harden for me would never be an MVP.
but here's what I'm hearing from you as well is when you say the most valuable player to their team, does that mean their team also has to be one of the best teams?
Not necessarily.
So if I can I win MVP if my team doesn't even make the playoffs?
It's a hard one.
So I would argue you can't.
I would say no because I'd say no because
your value
you weren't that valuable
enough.
at the end of the day. Yeah,
Your value
you weren't that
valuable
valuable
to take you to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So for me, it has to be a playoff team. I actually would even go as far to say you have to be one of the top teams. So either first place in your conference or second place in your conference.
Okay.
Which means one of the top 4 teams in the league. Most MVPs, when we go back, are in that situation, right? Giannis won it last year as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson won it as the number 1 seed in football in the AFC. Now, the one thing that's interesting is I would argue many seasons, Mike Trout's the MVP of baseball.
Baseball's a whole different thing, though.
Yeah, because baseball's very stats-driven.
Baseball's also very offensive-driven.
But I also think baseball is a team game with individual stats.
Yeah,
it is the most individual stat team game there is.
Yeah,
because
but a lot
I don't
of that
get assists.
No, a lot of that is offensive.
Yeah, but I don't get assists. I don't get like a defense to offense ratio kind of score, right? Like it's a very different game. My team, there's no like. The only teamwork, the only team plays in baseball are outfield assists and infield assists. Like when you're the guy who fields the ball and throws it to the person on base. That's the only time you have like a team play. But realistically, also any major league player is supposed to be able to make these throws. So the only ones that are really significant is when you have an outfield assist. Would you
even call it an assist, or would you just call that from a single player? I wouldn't call it an assist though, because at the end of the day, if I'm throwing from outfield to catch, that's on me as an outfielder to get that ball to the catch.
Yeah, but like
that catcher's not moving. That catcher's keeping his foot on the base. That's what you got to do.
Well,
same thing. Well, unless you're hitting a cutoff, man, there's no assist.
Like Yasiel Puig is considered a really good defensive outfielder because he has so many outfield assists. He's got a freaking cannon.
Yeah, but I wouldn't make
throws other guys can't.
I would give that to him. That'd be a defensive I guess point or something for him.
Okay.
I don't know what to call it, but I guess a defensive play.
Is it a teamwork play?
No.
Yeah, because you and I don't need to talk.
Unless it's
I'm throwing you the ball because the play is to you, regardless.
I wouldn't give it the assist. I would give it the outs. I would just like an outs count, and if you get a double play, then that counts towards 2 players for the out.
But if you're the shortstop and you field a ground ball and you throw it to first, you know who gets the out?
So that's what I mean. I know the first baseman
gets
gets it, but it should be the shortstop.
Yeah, because the first baseman didn't do anything; he just caught the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
If the first baseman snags a ground ball and runs it back to first or throws the pitcher at first, whatever the case is,
the shortstop gets an assist in that.
It shouldn't be an assist though. The assist becomes more valuable than the out.
Touchdown pass, not just an assist.
Well, it depends on if the yards after the catch.
When I throw a ball to a receiver and he catches it in the end zone,
that's okay. There's two different rankings for that though. There's a quarterback
touchdown.
I know.
They're both given.
So then you give them both the outs. Like don't call it an assist though. It's not an assist.
Okay.
I guess the assist, if anything, should go to the first baseman.
Okay.
Because the assist was technically the first baseman on that one.
And then there's a whole other thing in hockey because you get second assists, which is completely.
Well, that's an assist. That's an assist to the goal. I don't hate that.
An assist to the assist.
Well, yeah. I truth be told, I think if the puck gets passed 4 times that leads to a goal and it's all part of the play, then there should be 4 assists.
I don't agree with this at all.
But why?
Why? Because it's my job to pass the puck when I don't have a chance of scoring.
Why should they not get an assist for that?
Why should I get an assist for that?
But,
so if I'm behind the net and I pass it out to the hash,
okay,
and then the hash passes it to the point and the point shoots it for a
goal, that's a
the hash deserves the assist.
That's a design play.
Yeah, sure, it's a design play.
What if I just dish it to the point?
When the point guard passes the ball to the small forward and the small forward pump fakes and then dishes it to the center and the center puts it in, the point guard doesn't get an assist.
Well, I wouldn't give him the assist because there was the pump fake factor. That pump fake's not designed in the play, but it's not.
It might be.
Okay.
Because the play can be an option. The play can be if you're open, shoot. If you're not, dish it inside.
Okay.
That's a play.
I'm not okay.
You have options.
We're getting off here. Like I'm talking baseball and what should we consider an assist and non-assist in baseball.
We've gotten way far away from MVP. So for me, an MVP needs to be one of the top teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be doing sufficiently in stat categories.
Yep.
They don't need to be leading the league in points. They don't need to be leading the league in assists. But to me, there's also an eye test factor. When I watch that person play, I want to feel while I'm watching them, that guy is the best guy on the court. He is by far the biggest reason they are coming away with these wins. Right? Because all too often in basketball especially, we look at just scoring.
Yeah.
But
most of the time that's your eye factor is the scoring.
But there's many times where the scorer like JJ Redick, Kyle Korver, would I ever consider them one of the top scorers in the NBA? No, but they get a lot of 3-pointers. Mm-hmm. Why? Because good playmakers give them the ball.
There's a lot of MVPs in the past that are only MVPs because of their team.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch some flack for this one.
Steve Nash.
Yeah. There have been years where, you know what? Realistically, without the team around him, Kobe Bryant would not be an MVP. Michael
Jordan.
Same thing.
He had one of the best collection of players ever surrounding him.
LeBron to an extent. I think there was, what was the 1 year he won in Cleveland before, when he was first there before Miami?
Well, he didn't win it.
He won MVP. No, he got MVP. Yeah, the year that he got it when he was in Cleveland, before the championship, before Miami, all that stuff.
Well, he deserved it then. He, as a rookie, took a team of nobodies to the NBA Finals.
Yeah. He definitely deserved the MVP.
No, he lost to Dwight Howard in the Eastern Conference Final in that first year.
The first year I think was what they came back the third. Was it the third year?
Something like that.
I think it was the second.
But he led a bunch of scrub teams to the playoffs multiple years in a row. He was clearly the MVP. If it wasn't for him, they would have never made it.
Those early days of Cleveland, like when he first came to the league, they had nobody.
For the better part of a decade, the Eastern Conference went through LeBron James. Whatever team he was on made it to the NBA Finals.
No, I wouldn't.
Is that not a fact?
No.
Yeah, it is.
I think there was there was the Shaq year.
That's not Eastern Conference.
Cleveland?
Shaq? Shaq was not a contributor for Cleveland.
No, I'm saying there was whatever year was Shaq was there. I'm saying when Shaq was there.
Okay.
There was that year that I think they made it to the finals that year.
Okay, but that wasn't Shaq. That was.
I'm just saying the Shaq year. I can't remember what year it is. I remember that Shaq was on the team that year.
But the Eastern Conference went through LeBron.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not, the whole time, no, it did not.
Yeah, it did.
It did not.
His team was always
what
in the
year did he
finals.
come into the league? 05? It was 05.
I don't know. As long as he's been in the Eastern Conference, his team has been in the NBA
No, they were not.
Finals.
The NBA Finals in 2011 was Boston versus the Lakers. In 08, Boston won it. That's 2 years right there. He was still, he was still in.
He's
2010, not 11.
7 out of his 10 years in the Eastern Conference, he was in the finals.
Okay, that's 3. He wasn't there though.
3, he was in the Eastern Conference final.
You just said the finals. Though. You said he was in the NBA Finals.
The finals went through him.
The conference
You had
finals
to
went
beat
through
him to get there. If you didn't beat LeBron, you weren't in the finals. He was.
Yeah, that's. I'm not going to disagree with that.
It's like
but-
Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
He just lives there. And it's hosted in New England.
Well, not this year.
I know. And that's why they didn't win, because they didn't have home field advantage for any of their games.
I wouldn't say that's why they didn't win.
That's a huge factor.
Well, they didn't get home field advantage. They did not do that good throughout the whole season. So
Right. But if they had home field advantage, first of all, they only
they had to be good all
they
season
only
to get home
didn't
field
get
advantage.
home field advantage because Miami beat
Because
them.
Miami beat them. Miami's the kryptonite.
Yeah.
So you can't say it's only because Miami beat them.
The
'Cause
last 2
at the end of
years, they're 2-2 against Miami.
Yeah, but not even the last 2 years. Miami has been their kryptonite. Miami just has a tendency to at least one game a year.
Because they know
One game every 2 years to beat
Miami
them.
Miracle.
And the Miami Miracle is just there's something about that. Bill Belichick just can't beat Miami all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. Mm-hmm. Kind of like playing the Giants in the Super Bowl. He just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, NBA MVP is LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
If you
I think this year he's got one of the strongest teams around him too, with the exception of maybe that Chris Bosh,
So I don't
Dwayne
actually-
Wade, Ray Allen.
I don't
year.
actually consider his
Miami.
team that good. I think
I don't consider them.
he has one really good teammate, and everybody else is role players.
I again, you know my opinion on Danny Green, how much I love him.
Like
I think he's a great person to have there.
if you take AD off the Lakers, what team is better, Lakers or the Bucks? Not because I would argue Chris Middleton is better than any swingman LeBron has to dish the ball to.
I mean, actually, if you look at,
I would also say Brook Lopez is a better center than anybody on the Lakers.
Stop.
He is this year.
hate him so
His
much.
defensive stats are incredible. He's back to playing defense again.
I mean, realistically, if you look at the record, though, it's Milwaukee. The answer is Milwaukee, with or without AD. It's Milwaukee.
Well, with AD, I think the Lakers are a better team.
With
they have
but with
two-
AD, Milwaukee is still technically, based on the record, the better team.
But we also have to remember, in the regular season, you go 13 deep, 12 deep, 11 deep. In the playoffs, you go 9 deep. So you have to think, who has the best 9?
I get that, but
Right? The best 9, if you have AD, is the Lakers. If you don't have AD, it's the Bucks. Right? I would actually argue the best 9, if you're just going 9 and you're comparing, so 1-to-1 and going all the way through, we start talking about Philly having a deeper team, Boston having a deeper
Yep.
team. We talk about the Heat having a deeper team.
the Clippers.
The Clippers have a deeper team. So, because NBA basketball, even the Raptors actually have a very deep team, right? When we look at playoff basketball, we can't talk about regular season basketball. It's almost a different sport. It's like when the Leafs a couple years ago were the darlings to make it to the Stanley Cup because they were dominant in the regular season. They're scoring on everybody.
And then they ran
And
into
it's like-
is the freight train in Boston.
Yeah, and it's like, no. Boston's a playoff team.
Yeah.
They're not built for the regular season.
But
they're built to face you they're built to face you 7 games and beat the crap.
That's what
out of you.
hockey's known for, though. It's always everybody says it, man. This is playoff hockey. Hockey. Tampa lost because they weren't playing playoff hockey.
If I get to take a break, if I get to play some crap team before I play you again, I can take that game off and like chill about it.
Yeah.
Maybe only beat them by 2 points when I should have beat them by 13.
Yeah.
Right? And then I come back to you and I'm better rested. If I'm playing your team every 2 days, that's a whole other level of intensity.
There's also an emotional factor that's added into that
The emotional factor. There's a scouting factor. There's I understand what you did last game. You can't do that again to me this game.
But I think that's where the emotional factor ties in. Is like, you did this to me last game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do that to me again.
Right.
And I'm gonna do everything I can to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
And then you come out and do something else to me instead.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, that's why everyone says playoff hockey is completely different. It's the same thing with basketball. Really, like everyone. Playoff basketball is different than
Well, it's like the
basketball.
Raptors for the longest time before Kawhi came. The Raptors were the best regular season team in the Eastern
and couldn't do
Conference.
shit in playoffs.
They couldn't win playoffs.
And that's why Casey got canned. I think that's one of the reasons why they shipped out DeRozan. I don't think it was just the Kawhi factor. I think DeRozan was a big piece of not like everyone said.
DeRozan was a huge piece.
Yeah, okay. They're going to argue with me there. I was like, everybody would talk about how DeRozan was not a playoff player.
So I it's twofold for me. DeRozan played the style of basketball that Dwayne Casey wanted him to play. He wasn't forced to be a playmaker. Mm-hmm. He was expected to be the sole contributor in scoring.
Yeah.
Which is fine because he was the best scorer on the team. But if the rest of the team isn't expected to do any scoring during the regular season, when it comes to the playoffs and he's facing someone who can shut him down, who's picking up the slack?
Oh, no, it's like...
Because he's a good player, he's not elite. Elite players find a way to score regardless of who's defending them. DeRozan's not that guy. And they're also, to be fair to DeRozan, Lowry also didn't really show up in the playoffs. Lowry's best postseason was his past postseason with Kawhi. There were games where Lowry was the better player on the court.
There's a lot of games where he's the better player on the court.
Yeah. Than Kawhi. He was better than Kawhi in some games.
I would say so. What was it? Was it the year before? Was it the 2018 year where they went up against Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think.
Was it the 2018 or the 2017?
I feel like that happened twice.
The finals? No, they only made it to the finals the one year against Cleveland.
Okay.
Every year they made it a step further, and then they won the conference finals, and then won the championship.
Beat them 3 times in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, but that wasn't, again, that was like...
He was the Raptors.
Because they ended up losing like round 1, round 2, conference finals, and then they won the championship. Mm. But like that year, Lowry was the standout in the playoffs. It wasn't DeRozan. And it wasn't the two of them together. It was like Lowry stood out as a player there. And then he got hurt. I think it was game 2 of that conference finals. Got hurt. I don't think he played game 3 or 4. And they lost pretty soundly.
And Corey Joseph was there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have Van Fleet to rely on either.
Nope.
And DeRozan's also not much of a defender, right?
Mm-mm.
So
no, he's very much an offensive player.
That was Kawhi's big contribution. Is not only was he the best player on the court offensively, he'd also take away your best weapon defensively.
Yeah.
So that was I think also Lowry played a certain level because he knew we can win it. I don't think he knew he could win it before.
No, I mean, that had a lot to do, again, like we all knew about the Kawhi factor, but like that just changed everything. Everyone talked about how Kawhi's a former champion. He's coming out in, big year for a contract year.
Yep. And
I think that really turned around that team's performance. Mm-hmm. Everyone started playing with the intention, like with the mindset of we can win a championship here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, it's shitty to say because I do think that had they had that mindset that they would have at least looked better against Cleveland. The years prior, they probably would have went further in the playoffs.
Yeah, they had a very Canadian mindset. Well, we made it here. That's good enough.
That's very much like a Leaf fan mindset.
Yeah.
We call that Canadian mindset. I've never once heard a Habs fan say that playoffs are good enough. Dude, the city of Vancouver rioted and burnt the whole city down because
the city of Vancouver shouldn't have expected anything else.
I wouldn't say Vancouver is, a bunch of scumbags.
No, I'm saying they're...
Or to lose in 7 to Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they should... Like, they were lucky to make it to 7 games. Boston was
a good Canucks team then.
It was, but Boston was by far the better team.
Yeah.
Just watching
I mean,
people
yes.
freak out and throw stuff on the ice.
Oh, I love watching coaches throw tantrums. Remember, Bobby Knight had the best tantrums ever, like throwing chairs onto the court and stuff.
Oh, the
Bobby-
college coach?
Yeah, Bobby Knight was gangster as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Oh man,
been some greats.
yes.
Speaking of great coaches,
Matt Rule.
coach of the year in the NHL.
Ooh. I don't know.
So if the Blue Jackets make it,
They're not. And why? Why would that be coach of the year?
you lost a Vezina candidate, a Ross candidate, and what's the they lose? And
Round
Duchesne.
2 to Boston? I don't know.
And Duchesne. They lost their 3 best players.
Okay.
And also have had bad injuries all year, and they're right now in the playoffs.
They're in right now?
Yeah,
I thought they were just out.
No, they're in the wild card.
Oh, stop it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This is them and Philly battling right now.
No, Philly.
Or not them and Philly. Sorry,
Philly's
them and Islanders. Islanders are not in. Don't tell me the Islanders are in.
Islanders aren't in.
Yeah.
Wild card. It's Hurricanes in Columbus. Islanders are out. And that's because, but the Islanders have 2 games left to play, and they're only out by a point. So the Islanders right now are actually have a pretty high chance of getting in. Blue Jackets have 2 games in hand. They've played 70 games. But yeah, for me, if the Blue Jackets make it into the playoffs, Torts needs to get consideration, and Paul Maurice.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, I've always been a fan of Torts. It's not like that's. I'm biased.
Do you miss Torts?
I do. I don't know, man. Like, it's.
Yeah. So right now Winnipeg's out, but I think they'll make it in. I think they'll make it in.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The Western Conference is far more competitive. Look at this. You got the Flames, Canucks, Predators, Jets, and Wild all within 2 points of each other.
I think right now the West is the better conference of the two, really.
So West is more competitive, but I think the Stanley Cup's going to the Eastern Conference.
To who in the Eastern Conference?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does.
It's going to go to either Boston,
Okay. Say it.
the Lightning,
There you go.
the Capitals,
Okay.
or the Penguins.
Okay. Just want to make sure you weren't going to say Leafs in that one.
It's going to go to one of those 4 teams. Those are playoff teams. They're built to win playoff games.
I don't know, man.
I love the
Colorado right now is playing playoff hockey. I'm pretty sure they've already clinched a spot. So
Colorado.
yes, sir. I believe they're second in the West.
Colorado is second in the Western Central. Yes, second overall in the West. Yeah. Okay, 90 points. But McKinnon's out.
Yeah, but he's not out for the rest of the season, is he?
He's
I
out,
think he's out for another 2 or 3 weeks.
he's out for at least 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, McKinnon's out. Oh, out.
And they're still-
out
they're
1
still-
to 2 weeks with lower body injury.
They're what, 7? I think 7 wins in the last 10 right now.
I don't know. Something good. The the team that I would want to win is Hurricanes. I love the Hurricanes.
Yes, I know. That's you just because of the bad boys of hockey.
Yeah, I love it. I also like a young team that has like just classic vets, guys that you like to cheer for. I like that team.
To me, that's San Jose.
See, San Jose is not a young team to me at all.
That's got the bets that I want to see win. Well, I mean,
Who? Petrangelo?
Joe Thornton.
Peter Angelo?
Joe Thornton.
Oh, San Jose. I thought you said St. Louis.
I mean, like, I'm not opposed to seeing St. Louis win again,
But
but
San Jose's not winning anything. San Jose's
out mathematically.
San
I'm pretty sure
Jose
they're
will
eliminated.
never make the playoffs.
Okay, what do you mean they'll never make the playoffs?
No, sorry. San Jose will never win a Stanley Cup.
Yes, I do agree with that.
They were in the finals a couple years ago.
Yes,
The year, who were they?
they
against?
lost to Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think the year before that, they lost to LA for the Western Conference Finals.
Well, they lost to the Golden Knights in the Western Conference Final.
That too.
But yeah,
They've very much been like
San Jose,
the almost team.
Well, did they? I don't know if they'll ever have a better roster than they had during those runs.
So I put them on the same level as the Dodgers during like those runs.
Dodgers got robbed because of science.
Okay. This isn't the first time that the Dodgers have made it to either the World Series or the
Dodgers should have
the
two
NL
World Series right now.
They've also made it to the NL Finals. How many times have not gone on?
Right, but they probably would have beaten the Red Sox, and they probably would have beaten the Astros if neither of those teams signed still.
You're talking when it was Red Sox versus St. Louis?
Red Sox versus St. Louis.
Yeah.
When was this?
The last time the Red Sox won the World Series.
Why don't I remember that?
They didn't play the Dodgers.
Well, the Dodgers would have at least won against the Astros.
Okay, that's fine against the Astros, but they didn't. Yeah, the last time the Red Sox won it was... Or was it? Was it St. Louis or was that the 2014? I can't remember now.
I don't know. What are we talking about? The Canucks are an interesting team in the Western Conference. So, like, the two teams that I will be cheering for are the Canucks and the Hurricanes. I like wildcard teams, so I'll be cheering for those two. Who do you have in the Stanley Cup final?
Oh, sorry, you're right. It was the Red Sox versus the Dodgers 2018. My bad. I forgot about that. I forgot that was the Dodgers. The 2014 was the St. Louis one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that St. Louis team, that the team with I can't remember their pitching staff. I feel like they had a great pitching staff.
They did. That was when they had Carpenter.
St. Louis.
I can't remember anymore.
No.
Feels like forever ago, to be
Cliff Lee
honest with
wasn't
you.
there. Yeah, it does.
Cliff
Baseball seasons are long.
Lee was there that year, I'm pretty sure.
In St. Louis?
Yeah.
Right now I'm just picturing Cliff Lee in his Phillies hat. And Cole Hamels. Now I'm just picturing Phillies.
Who do I see in the
Stanley Cup
Finals? Tampa, obviously.
Okay, even after they just lost to the Leafs, the lowly Leafs.
They always lose to the Leafs. Have you not realized that they always lose to the Leafs? This is why I don't go to Tampa Toronto games.
That would be depressing if I was a Tampa fan.
I'll drive to Ottawa to go see them play the Sens. I'll drive to Montreal to go see them play the Habs. I will not go to Toronto, which is down the street, to see them play because they're going to lose. I have been to... It's been double digits. I've been to double digits Tampa Toronto games, and I'm pretty sure I've only seen them win 2 or 3 games.
Ouch.
Yep.
That's upsetting.
Yeah. I just don't go.
So you have Tampa,
Colorado.
What
would I like to see? Tampa versus Edmonton.
Yeah. Edmonton's not making to the Stanley Cup Finals though.
I know, but I do enjoy that team.
So I got Boston. And I got Boston versus... Yeah, it's going to be Boston versus the Blues. It's going to be the two first place teams. That's my opinion. And it sucks because I don't like calling that. I'd rather a more interesting final than the 2 teams that are expected to be there. But, yeah, those are the most playoff-ready rosters. Those teams can do everything, and they're built to play good playoff defense too. And the goaltending is great. Great goaltending from both teams. So, yeah, Boston Blues and Boston
rematch.
Boston wins it.
So we're going back to Detroit, Pittsburgh, 06-07.
Yeah, Boston wins it.
Okay.
Do you have? Tampa,
I hope that doesn't
do
happen.
You have Tampa winning it?
Of course.
This guy.
After last year?
You actually believe that, or you just want that?
Well, obviously I want that, and obviously because I want it so bad I have to believe it.
We have to will it into existence.
Exactly. That's how the Leafs made playoffs, don't you know?
The Stanley Cup that I think would be the coolest Stanley Cup would be the Penguins versus Edmonton. A 7-game series of McDavid versus Crosby. Would be awesome.
Yeah.
And McDavid versus Crosby, Draisaitl versus Malkin. Like, I love it. I love that series. It writes itself.
It'd be great.
It'd be a great series.
I would definitely want to watch that.
But
No, it will not.
It'd be great. I'm picturing it right now, so I don't need to see it.
It'd be a great passing the torch moment.
Oh yeah, can you imagine if McDavid won that? Oh,
Passing the torch.
that'd be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so cool.
Your eyes are just like lighting up right
He
now.
wouldn't win it. He wouldn't win it. The Penguins would win that series. McDavid would play out of his mind though. Like he would win them 3 games by himself. Him and Draisaitl. So not by himself.
Or do they go down 3 games and come back and sweep 4 straight?
Oh my god, that's great.
Right?
Just picturing it. Yeah, so NBA Finals. Who do you got? I was breaking
Boston.
down the Eastern Conference by myself.
Boston Lakers, bro.
Oh
It's
my god,
happening.
you're bringing it back?
It's happening. It's happening. It's redemption for 2010.
So I wasn't a believer.
You tell me that a healthy Boston is not the best team in the East right now.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Easy.
You don't have any superstar player. For me, and I am usually not a hometown guy.
Oh, you biased motherfucker.
I have Raptors versus Clippers. I have Kawhi coming back.
Nope.
That's my finals.
Actually, you want to know what? Are we talking most likely outcome?
That's what I think is the most likely outcome.
Most likely outcome for the NBA Finals? Doesn't happen.
Oh, because of Corona.
Yep.
I don't think that's
That's my
most
take.
likely.
I think
it's
I
possible.
think that's the most likely outcome. Doesn't
It's
happen.
possible.
They just call the whole season off at this point.
I don't think they can afford to call the whole season off because they still have to pay all the players. Lakers versus Bucks is probably the easiest bet.
Well, yeah. That's probably the betting favorite right now.
Celtics versus Lakers would be great. My problem for that for you guys is I think that's a sweep.
I wouldn't call it a sweep.
I think the Lakers would destroy you.
Nope.
Or
Well, let's see.
or,
see what happens.
Or maybe you guys win a game.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Boston's also leading the series during the season right now against the Lakers. So
That doesn't mean anything.
I get it. Playoff basketball is different.
Yeah. Who did they play before? Who did they play after?
The Celtics
Yeah, no, who did the Lakers
Oh.
play before? Who did they play after? Did they play the Clippers before?
probably fucking played San Antonio. That's a fall from grace team.
Well, they don't have
They have nobody.
the roster.
They have nobody.
Yeah. But they will. Watch. They'll randomly improve overnight somehow.
Did you hear that they're not going to take the option for DeRozan?
They're gonna let him walk.
Yep.
It's not the worst thing in the world. He doesn't have championship stuff. He's a third player on an NBA championship team. I used to say he's a
So do you think that he could be that third player going back to Toronto?
who's our first player.
I'd say honestly, I'd probably say Siakam.
So, but if he came back to Toronto, I think DeRozan would just start getting the ball again.
I don't know. It's a whole different team now.
It's still,
Like realistically, it's not
he's
it's
the
not a
more-
whole different
He's
team.
the more elite scorer,
That's fine.
so he'd get the ball more.
This is also
And he's Lowry's best friend.
a Toronto Raptors that doesn't have an elite scorer and are currently sitting second in the East.
Right, and that's because they share the ball. They play really good regular season basketball.
Right. Nick Nurse is a great coach for that.
Yeah.
He has built a good team. So
DeRozan also can't shoot the three. He doesn't fit in the system.
he doesn't have to though.
He does in this system. He has to shoot the three in this system. Because what makes Siakam effective is being afraid of him outletting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes him effective. Because he can drive and fake the dish. Or he can drive and dish to the three-point shooter. DeRozan is not a good enough three-point shooter to work in this system. Because this system goes through...
I think he could become one. You can learn to shoot a ball.
I think he can, but I think there are cheaper guys out there that can fulfill that role and be more efficient.
I don't see anybody signing for that big money contract though. If the
They don't need big money.
If the San Antonio Spurs do not want to sign you or do not want to take the option on your contract,
But they're doing that so that they get a better draft pick next year. They're doing that for.
well, they're gonna get the draft pick either way.
They're doing that for a better one. They want a next year, not this
Oh,
year.
the 2021 draft.
Yeah, they're gonna have an even worse
Gotcha.
year next year,
I wouldn't be surprised.
right? And then they're gonna draft a really good player, and they're gonna who knows how long Pop's gonna coach for? But I think that he has a plan, and I think part of it's tanking. Anybody who thinks that Pop is beyond tanking, Pop is also the guy who created load management. He created it.
Fact. That's fact.
Tim Duncan was the first load management, not Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard learned from his master, Tim. Right? Like, come on.
They just never lied about it with Duncan.
No. Right? Like Pop created it. So if you think that he wouldn't tank a season to get a blue chip prospect to build around, I also think that this year's draft isn't a great draft. This year,
I think there's going to be some players in that draft this year that we're not anticipating are going to be as good as they are.
there's the kid that the NCAA suspended. He's up there, and then LaMelo Ball, and then let's see what happens in the tournament if somebody.
Udoka as a Buki?
So as a Buki, I like him, but he is not going to be a star in the NBA.
I think
he's
I think he's
Bam.
going to be.
He's Bam Adebayo.
I think he's actually be a pretty decent center.
He can't shoot.
That's true.
It's a shooting league. He's Bam Adebayo.
So then you look at a guy like Luka Garza.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What team
Okay.
does Luka play for again?
He plays for Iowa.
Yeah.
So 14.
Let's
he's
see what
had,
he
he's
looks
had,
like
he's had
against-
14 double doubles this year.
Yeah.
14 straight games with 20 or more points,
Yeah.
and he's a great 3-point shooter.
Let's see what he looks like in the tournament. That's where he will cement himself as to like what he truly is. He plays for Iowa.
Yep.
Yeah, they're ranked 25.
I'm okay with that. That doesn't change the fact that I think he's gonna have a great performance. Obi Toppin out of Dayton, power forward. Dayton, first of all, is like one of my sleeper teams. I think they're gonna have some massive upsets this year.
Well, they're not a sleeper. They're ranked third
They're not ranked third.
in the AP poll. They're
No,
ranked
they're
third.
not.
I'm looking at it right now.
Are you serious?
AP poll. They're ranked third. They're 29-2. They've only lost 2 games.
They're not ranked third. Stop.
AP poll. So this is all the teams. 2 losses. The only reason they're in third is because the other team has played more games. Gonzaga has more games, so they have more wins. They both have the same amount of losses. Kansas actually has more losses than both of them.
Yeah, I don't understand how Kansas is the betting favorite this year.
Kansas, they're a proven.
I guess it's Kansas.
It's a name.
It's Kansas.
It's a name. Like
Which is weird because you think
Duke always has tons of people betting on them.
those are my boys.
This is my team too. But like last year, whoever chose Duke doesn't understand the tournament. The tournament is not won by the blue chip prospects. It's won
No.
by the best team. Duke was not a good team. They had Zion, they had Cam, and they had RJ.
Yep.
Everybody else was insignificant to Coach K's offense.
It's true.
Literally, if Zion was off the court, it looked like a completely different team. If RJ and Zion were off the court and Cam had to carry it by himself, oh my God, they just triple teamed Cam. He couldn't get a shot off. Like, it was ridiculous. It was one of the. I watched because I watched Duke in the tournament. I have to watch every Duke game, and when I watched, I was like, this team is one of the worst coached teams in the league.
They were not a good team
And
last
they're
year.
poorly coached by one of the best coaches.
Yep.
The thing is, on paper, like the actual people that they have on the team are the same people they have this year.
Yeah,
And this year, they have more of a chance to win the tournament.
they're
than last year.
more well-rounded team this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I like their key contributors, but their key contributors don't demand attention. Right?
My favorite team going into it this year is Baylor,
Okay.
number 1 seed.
Yep.
Well deserved. What I'm actually, I think the team that probably worries me the most is Gonzaga, because that team's coming in with the most rest,
Okay.
and that's a big threat. So I mean, you're going into that big tournament there, most well rested team. They finished their tournament last week.
Gonzaga?
Yeah, I think was it last week that they finished up,
Yeah, they just
keep forgetting where we are on this week actually.
yeah, Gonzaga was the West Coast champions.
Yeah. So I definitely think that, like, I would love to see that kind of.
So I've always liked Gonzaga.
I have too.
I've always been I've never been like a fan of theirs, but I've like, oh, if they win, that'd be cool.
Yeah, them and Villanueva.
Yeah, Villanova is an easy team to cheer
Yep.
for too. I'll never cheer for Kentucky or Kansas, or NC.
If you had to pick one,
Of those three,
Kentucky or Kansas.
I'd choose Kentucky.
No, to hell with UNC.
I'd choose Kentucky.
Really?
I like the Kentucky guys that are in the NBA.
Fair.
So I choose Kentucky. Kansas, I gotta be a fan of Wiggins because he's a Canadian boy. But
I think that's why I'd pick Kansas.
Can't stand Embiid.
Mm-hmm. That makes one of us.
Yeah, I can't stand Embiid. Florida State's going to win it all. That's my pick.
Just gonna long shot.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to win it all?
Duke.
Do you think Duke's going to win it all?
No, I think Baylor's going to win it
I
all.
would love Duke to win it all.
Yeah, so would I.
But they're not going to.
I think Baylor's going to win it all.
Okay.
But we'll see.
We should make a gentleman's wager.
Do you want us to make a bracket wager?
Do a whole bracket.
Do a whole bracket.
And whoever has
Most
the
correct wins it all.
Sure.
We'll do that.
Okay. What's the wager?
You want to make it something for the YouTube?
Oh, like something embarrassing?
Yeah. That's not embarrassing necessarily. Like, I'm not going to make you run on the street naked.
Okay, yeah. It's not Tuesday anyway, so.
I don't know. How about this? How about we spend this week, we put our brackets together.
Okay.
Next week on the show,
we won't even be able to make a bracket until Sunday. Selection Sunday will determine who's where.
So, yeah, we'll make our brackets on Sunday.
Okay.
First game's what, Thursday?
Yes.
So we'll do it on the show. We'll announce our brackets on the show.
Okay.
Or actually, we'll announce our wager on the show. We won't go through the whole brackets on the show. We'll announce our wager on the show.
Okay. We'll announce our final four.
Yeah.
On the show.
Actually, speaking of brackets.
Yes.
So we also discussed next week we're going to do a March Madness game. So we're actually going to bring on a friend of ours. We've mentioned him a couple times.
Yep.
So we're going to give him a call and see if he wants to come on. But we're going to do our own March Madness bracket of some greatest athletes.
Yeah.
From the four major sports. Should we kind of expand it maybe? We might be doing a couple of them. We'll see how it all plays out. Join us next week for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Check us out on the YouTube. You guys can actually give your comments there as well.
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter at 2StrikesPod. Mm-hmm. And until next week,
good times.
Good times. So, bonus footage right now, guys. So they just announced that, who was it? Gobert on Utah.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz has contracted coronavirus.
Test positive. And
then the NBA has now suspended this season until further notice.
Where are you seeing this NBA news?
Right here. I got CB24, TSN. Rudy Gobert gets coronavirus, and then they suspend the season. Holy shit.
So
that escalated quickly.
CBS Sports reported 18 minutes ago that NBA plans to continue season without fans.
No, it just came through. 9:41 from TSN, 9:43
here we go.
from CB24.
Here we go. Michael McCarthy, breaking news. NBA are temporarily eliminating in-game TV interviews. Oh, see, that's not the league. Communications to suspend season over coronavirus.
Yeah.
Arguably bigger news than Trump Europe travel ban. The networks are running it as breaking news, which it is.
So I was right when I said that there was going to be no winner this year.
I can see the NHL not following the NBA's league.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
I'm just reading some of the tweets. Holy crap.
The NBA is suspending its season after Wednesday night's games until further notice because of the coronavirus concern. Majority of NBA owners are leaning towards a proposal to temporarily play games without fans in the building in response to the global concerns surrounding the coronavirus, a person with direct knowledge of the talks said.
Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to end up playing without fans because at least they still make money on TV deals, and they still make money on endorsements and commercial time and stuff like that. Actually,
but here's the problem. There's a player that has now contracted the virus.
Yeah.
So now at this point, you can arguably say that the entire Utah Jazz has been
they're all
contaminated.
Have to get tested.
Well, they're all going to get tested. Yeah, 100%. But if you look at that whole team coming down with the virus, I mean, you got to look at what other teams they played against.
I would say
there's not really any, like, how do you control that now?
So I'd say you suspend it for the rest of the week and you use the week to test every player.
Every single player.
And then you find out. So if I was a player, that's what I would want to happen. I'd want to be tested, and I would want all of my peers to be tested. I would also want all training staff to be tested, coaches to be tested. Anybody who's in direct contact with players, they all need to be tested.
Yeah.
Because we can then establish who is sick so they can get the help they need to get over the illness, right? And then we also need to be able to establish, do we have enough players to continue?
Here's the other issue, though, is you got to look at, okay, so how long does it take from the time you come in contact with somebody
to you being, get a positive test?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude,
that's massive.
This escalated quickly. Wow.
We're just talking about this being a possibility.
Yeah, like we just finished recording the episode. We had to come back on for the bonus footage here because of this. Like literally, it was within seconds of us finished recording that they announced Rudy. And then a couple minutes later,
that Rudy news, we knew something was going to happen, but that's...
Well, we expected at some point somebody was going to get dinged with it, right? Like we knew someone was going to hit with
and he's a star.
Corona.
He's a star in the league.
Yeah.
He's also an international star. I think that's worth noting.
Mm-hmm.
His French background, like has he been coming back and forth from France recently? Was
well,
he
probably
there?
Not. He was playing, right?
He was there for the All-Star break, maybe.
Maybe.
He's also rich enough that he can fly there for
Touche.
If he's got 3 days off, right? But still, like this is big.
Yeah, this is some big news.
This is going to. I'm kind of excited to see how the NBA responds and see how other sports leagues follow suit, because together, the NHL, NBA, baseball.
XFL, MLS.
They were all kind of on the same page as to how they were going to handle it.
Well, it was just turning into no fans. NCAA.
So they all like teamed up and they were like, let's agree with what we're going to do as a policy for all of us.
Well, I think that had a lot to do more with kind of governments and stuff like that. But to go to this, like, I mean,
the cooperation of leagues, because Gary Bettman this morning was talking about how
Gary Bettman doesn't cooperate with anybody really.
Well, he used to be the assistant commissioner of the NBA.
Yeah.
Now he's in the NHL. So he still probably has some connections in the NBA.
Oh, for sure.
So some people are suspecting that the NHL won't follow suit. I think the reverse. I think that they will follow suit. I think if you have the NHL and NBA both agree to do something going forward, everybody else is going to follow suit because they're both on their cusp of playoffs. Like, this is huge.
Well, yeah, like this.
We may not have an NBA champion this year. We may not have a Stanley Cup champion this year.
Not even that. I think this could definitely change the entire landscape of the playoff run to finish out the rest of the season.
It's going to affect guys' contract years.
Yeah,
it's going to affect.
Well, Phil, at this point, if they go for another 2 weeks or even a week, that puts Ben Simmons 1 week closer to be able to return with a couple more games under his belt, which is great for Philly.
Nathan McKinnon for the Avalanche.
Yeah, like it's gonna be interesting.
On the news today, someone brought up a really good point. They're like, obviously this sucks for the players. Obviously this sucks for the teams. Like this is a revenue stream.
It really sucks for them now,
right? But you know who this really sucks for? The non-millionaires, the people who work in the arenas.
Yeah,
the people who work concession and who do even just in-seat services and those types of people. Like they're out of a job.
Yeah.
Right, like
for a lot of them, though, like I know because like I've had quite a few that worked for Maple Leaf Sports, and you know they all have second jobs for the most part, I think. But you know, you look at some of these younger kids and things like that. Like it sucks. I think more for, you know, the ones that are there every single day, and then you look at guys like to do like the production and stuff like that, right? Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people that are gonna be affected by this.
Analysts, commentary guys. The people that work on those sets, the cameramen, like what are they going to?
I look more at the production side of things, right? Like I mean, the analysts and the commentators, those guys, a lot of them are making, you know, high six figures, if not some of them are getting into the millions, right? But those cameramen, directors, producers, things like that, like that's where your money really is.
Yeah.
So that's really shitty. I mean, hopefully this is, you know.
Hopefully it's a temporary thing.
I hope it's really short. Like I hope, you know, like they get it all kind of sorted out, get the testing going really quick. I think, like I said, you have to test everybody at this point.
Kudos to them for the response.
Yeah, that was hella quick though. But I mean, was it quick enough? Like, why weren't they testing people beforehand?
But it's super, super difficult for
a
business to take away their revenue. To basically say,
but that's what
we're shutting down production.
That's what they're doing right now.
I know.
And the thing with
this
I think
was probably a very hard decision to come to.
I think once it was announced that, you know, a player had contracted it, that it was game over.
So do you think that was just a straw?
Yeah.
I think they were trending in this direction already.
I don't think they were trending in the direction of completely shutting down the league for the time being, or suspending. Sorry, you know what I meant. Suspending the league, but I do think that, you know, this was definitely like you said, that straw that brought the camel's back, where they have no choice now, because you got to look at like the entire Utah Jazz at this point are going to go to quarantine, and anyone that they played in the last probably week or two,
yeah.
So and then from there, who have those teams played?
The guys
right?
who have D'd up on him, like when you
not even that, like just you really, I think, like sharing the court.
But like think like let's say they just played the Raptors.
Yeah.
So they just played the Raptors. Ibaka would have been defending him for most of that game.
That's fine.
He's face to face with this guy.
Yes.
For
you also got to think though,
this
guy has also come in contact with his teammates who have been defended by their players as well. Yeah. So I think the league's I think shutting down or suspending operations was the best call. Test everybody. Like everybody gets tested.
Do you think that we're going to have players that refuse testing?
I'd hope not. I don't think there would be. Like, why? Me personally, I wouldn't.
Me personally, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I don't think like
a lot of weird
things. Unless you're worried about getting popped for something else, which I don't think they're testing for there. Which they're not testing for there. Well, it's not a blood sample. It's a nasal sample.
It's nasal for.
Unless they're getting tested something else that goes into the nostrils. I don't know.
Well, the best way to test anything is blood.
Well, they're not testing blood, right? They're doing nasal testing. That's all it is. Again though, like it's hard because just because they don't show signs or test positive right now, are you able to get enough of a sample or an accurate sample?
They also might just be a carrier.
Yeah. So I think it all just really hit home really quick. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
That's huge.
That's big, yeah. I mean,
this is going to affect more than just basketball.
Yeah. So I guess until next week, guys. Hopefully, you know, this doesn't develop into more suspensions of leagues. But
not so good times.
Yeah, not so good times.